Hey everyone, for Tuesday, March 23rd, welcome to episode 58 of the Ginger and the Beard podcast. I'm AJ, aka The Ginger.
And I'm Reese, aka The Beard.
Today we're talking about UFC 260, pre-installed iPhone apps in Russia, new Cherry MX laptop switches, and more.
Don't forget to use the chapters below and subscribe to us on your favorite podcast platform. All right, man, let's get right into it.
Yes, sir. So I've got some weird kind of news to talk about. Apple related. Apple's always out there, man. Apple's always constantly in the news. People can't stop talking about it. But this one's interesting. I feel like I've been on like this sort of, dystopian kick lately. I don't know why. This is like what the internet feeds me. The internet continues to feed me these things, and I continue.
They're listening, and they're like, give him more, feed him.
And I just like get more and more concerned as the days go on. But so let's just get down. What are we talking about? Let's get to it. So Apple, as you know, well, maybe you're not. I don't know if you've ever owned an iPhone, Reese, but
long time ago.
Yeah, so when you set up your iPhone, you go through the step-by-step process. It gives you all the hola, and it gives you the hello and all the different languages, and basically walks you through what is already a simple process to set your phone up. It's pretty straightforward, but it's something interesting I found out yesterday, that in April, iPhones in Russia, or iPhone users in Russia, will see an additional step when they're setting up their iPhone, which essentially lists out a bunch of apps that are pre-approved by the Kremlin that users are strongly encouraged to install on their device. So I say strongly encouraged. They're doing all but pre-installing these apps on Russian users' phones. Okay, so I don't know the specific apps, but I do know that they are things like browsers, messaging platforms, and also antivirus services. So essentially it's going to give you a list and say, hey, the big brother government wants you to download these apps, and we're going to make it easy for you to do it here on this screen. So I imagine there being like an install all button or something like that. But it also says that it gives users the option to not install them and then proceed with the setup. So I guess first, let's get your first impressions here. I feel like there's some discontent, some discerning looks in your face.
It's like when you go to hit the do not install button, like a pop-up pops up. Please be aware that if you click this button, then location settings will be permanently turned on.
Yeah. It's like
hide your kids.
A Vladimir Putin picture pops up. Are you sure?
Oh, no. Install now.
Or just the skip button just doesn't work. It's just like,
your phone just like restarts, and then it asks you again, are you sure? No, are you sure? Are you sure?
You're sure.
Is TikTok on the list? That's all I really care about.
Like I said, I don't know what's on the list. I didn't look into it because I wouldn't know what any of them meant anyways. I don't speak or read Russian, but so, I mean, obviously,
wait, one more thing. They could just install them on the phone, right? Like, doesn't like Samsung already do that? They like install, like Google.
Yes.
Samsung and Google are two different entities completely, but Samsung automatically installs Google Chrome on your phone, so.
They could. That's one of the perks of Apple. Like, you don't get a bunch of bloatware on your device when you buy it. Like, you don't get the My Verizon app or the HP Print app or whatever other kind of bullshit apps that they put on your phone when you buy. I love Samsung, don't get me wrong, but they, depending on who your carrier is, they're going to give you some kind of crap on your phone. If you're AT&T, you get different crap. If you're Verizon, you get different crap. Most of the time you can get rid of it, so it's no big deal, but Apple doesn't typically do that. They kind of shelter you from, well, here we go. Let's say this. They shelter you from those third-party bloatware apps. They give you all of their apps. They're like, here's our browser, here's our calendar, here's, whatever. So it's a give and take situation. But so, yeah, I think they could. And actually, I'm glad you said that because other domestic companies, again, not naming specific companies here, have to stick to Russia's guidelines in terms of pre-installing that kind of stuff on their devices. So it basically dictates, with those domestic companies where they can store their data. Those companies have to give the government decryption access to certain agencies. So we're fortunate to live in the country that we live in America, where, I mean, depending on who you are, you may or may not believe this, we have a little bit more privacy than others may have. But then again, who knows what kind of privacy we actually have. We've talked about this.
Yeah, yeah.
But you know, it's interesting because it seems like Apple, from what I'm reading, I think this was an original report from Wired, but it seems like there's like a happy medium here between Apple and Russia. So exactly what you just said, why don't they just pre-install these apps? It seems like Russia wants them to do that, and basically enacted this law in which these different companies have to do that. But Apple was like, hold up, bro, hold up. Like, hey, if you want our devices in your country, like, we're not going to do that. We're not going to pre-install apps. It goes against our like privacy and whatever, not laws, but beliefs, I guess, whatever.
Core values, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. You know, because Apple, that's kind of like one of the things they stand, you know, for is privacy, and even sometimes where they don't give access to government agencies to help catch bad guys. But, you know, that's kind of a weird line you've got to walk, right? So this, you know, this list of apps that they're encouraging you to download is kind of Apple's happy medium to say like, hey, we'll go this far, and Russia is willing to accept that. So they have to kind of come to this like happy medium, because Apple, you know, obviously they're probably selling a lot of devices in Russia, so they don't want to be kicked out of the country, right? But also Russian government probably doesn't want Apple gone at the same time, right? So it's kind of this weird middle ground, I suppose. But, you know, Russia's not the only country to do something similar to this. The Chinese government also mandates that certain Chinese companies, are actually mandates that Apple stores Chinese customers' data domestically. So they have to store that data in China. And they also have dictated that Apple remove specific apps from the App Store. So the Chinese government can say, hey, we don't like that app. You need to get rid of that out of the App Store, so they don't have access to it in China, which is not surprising considering that a lot of people in China, I think, also don't have access to things like Netflix, or I think Google might even be restricted in some sense. So kind of crazy. So I'm not sure what your thoughts are on this, but I'm just thankful today that we live in America as opposed to some of these other countries.
Dude, yeah, I mean, we have democracy. Like, first off, like, that's fantastic. I don't want to get into that, but you know what I was just thinking? I was thinking Vladimir Putin, probably after you hit the don't accept, it'll probably like pop up and just be like, okay, well then there goes your daily ration of vodka. It's like,
yeah,
no,
vodka.
Vodka. Blah, blah. So yeah, dude, I think it's weird for the government to be getting involved in consumer electronics, you know, collecting data, telling people what to install. Like, why are they, you know, recommending this? Is it because lobbyists went into government and said, hey, we'll give you millions of dollars if you know, tell the citizens of your nation to install our app on your phone so that we can make a ton of money off of them having the app? I mean, that's probably what it is, right? It's all money, obviously, but
or just control. Like, they have access to those specific, like for a browser, for instance, if they, let's just, I don't know, use Dolphin as an example. Dolphin is a web browser. Sorry, Dolphin, if you guys hear this, I think you're probably a great browser, but let's just say that Russia has some kind of stake in that browser and they have access to all that, those files and data and things like that. They can probably track people using IP address and things.
Yeah,
basically monitor and surveil everything you're doing. You know, which is kind of crazy, but yeah, I mean, these countries like China, like Russia, have so much control over the people and the companies that operate within them. Like, I think I was listening to one of Rogan's episodes, and they were talking about how the Chinese government, for companies that operate within China, they have to have, like, I think if you're a certain size or a certain type of company, you have to have like a state actor in your company that like reports back to the government like what you are doing as in that business. You know what I'm saying? Like, so you can't get away with like skirting around the government's policies. Like, you have to bend to their rules, or else this one guy, he's essentially a snitch that you're paying for. You're paying the snitch on the payroll to report everything you do to the Chinese government. It's just insane.
I'm happy that we have a democracy, capitalism, and we have the best military, 25 times better than any other military in the world.
Yeah.
We have the Navy, we have the Air Force, because I would never want to live in a communist nation. No,
thank you.
Yeah, man.
I feel so bad for all the Russian UFC fighters.
I mean, yeah. I mean, think about the Chinese folks, all the riots that they had, and nothing's changing. And, you know, I just like having freedom. That's all there is to it, dude.
You can go outside and chop down trees in your plaid shirt as much as you want. That's
what I'm saying. I play video games afterwards. That's, you know.
No one's watching you. Or at least you think that no one's watching you.
I don't know if they want to see this. Yeah, dude. I don't know, man. I got nothing to hide. I don't really care if they watch me, but like, I'd rather them not, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of how I feel. But when I don't know, I feel like this is taking a dark turn. I don't care people like surveilling me. Like you said, I have nothing to hide. Like you can dig into my stuff. You won't find anything. But where it gets kind of shady is when it's like technology companies or government, for that matter, influencing the way you feel on a daily basis. You know what I'm saying? Like social media being able to show you exactly what I said. Like, I click on these sorts of articles, so the next time I go searching for industry information or news, that's the kind of articles I get, right? So,
I get like a bunch of obituaries now, dude. I don't understand. I don't know why I'm getting obituaries. Yeah, like famous people or just like some other random people that I've never heard of. It's usually like some famous person that I've never heard of and have no connection to. Like, they pop up in my Google newsfeed all the time. I'm like, what? I don't want to read this. You know?
You probably clicked on one article.
I probably did, just like out of curiosity, and like, it's like, oh, some 23-year-old died, and it's like, what? I don't want to.
Who is that?
I don't want to.
That person is.
Yeah, I don't want to know about this.
Yeah, don't bring my day down, man.
Listen, if you're not sending me articles about lumberjacks or video games or beer, don't send me articles.
How to chop down trees with an axe.
Dude, you should have seen it, man. I took an axe to that tree, dude. It was like a perfect pie. You know how if like when you cut down a tree, you got to like take a full like sliver out, like a pie sliver, and then you hit the other side of it. It was like perfect.
Perfect. Was it satisfying? I bet it was satisfying.
I could do it for a living.
Oh yeah, that's probably a good workout, man.
For like one day, I could do it for a living.
Then you're like, I need some air conditioning.
Yeah, it's too hot out here, man. Come on, though. All right.
Yes.
Yeah. So
That's enough dark news. That's enough dark news for the show. Hopefully, that's all we've got in here. But let's talk about something a little more uplifting.
Yeah. All right. So Cherry, if you guys have mechanical keyboards or know anything about keyboards, and you know who Cherry is, Cherry MX switches, they want to set a new standard in laptop key switches, right? So they haven't really got into the laptop game yet. They're coming out with Cherry MX ultra low profile switches for laptops. Pretty cool.
Yeah. This is interesting. I'm excited.
New patented design. So we got 3.5 millimeter tactile switches. Very, very small. Very, very slim compared to probably almost a centimeter of you know what their normal switches are. It's a 1.8 millimeter travel, which is like nothing. Think about it, like a centimeter, it's literally 20% of a centimeter. Think about it like that. It is.
Wow.
There's like no travel involved. It's 70% less deep than the desktop low profile switches. So 70% less deep.
That's insane.
Yeah, it's like super, super low profile. It's a 52, I don't know what the C stands for, but it's like a mini Newton, I guess, actuation force. So it's probably like 52 grams around there. Actuation force is probably what it translates to. RGB ready construction, Cherry Gold crosspoint technology. I didn't get a chance to look into what the Cherry Gold crosspoint technology is. I think it's just their patented electronics. I can say that and I'll get into this in a second, but they are like clear switches, so you'll be able to see the LEDs and all of the colors and whatnot that you want them to be. So these are designed and made in Germany. A little bit more about them. They scrapped the traditional housing and plunger components to instead use a 2-piece keycap mount made of stainless steel, which is preloaded via a spring and is an element of the mechanics. This slows for a very precise actuation mechanic, and combined with a tweaked gold crosspoint contact system provides a tactile switching characteristic and also generates acoustic feedback in the form of an audible click. So think about the Cherry MX Blue Switch, but like much smaller form factor. So it's only going to be traveling 1.8 millimeters, and along that travel path, it clicks, right? And it actually gets the force to push it actually increases by like 20 grams from start to finish. So it goes from like 50 to 70. Wow. It actually goes from 52 to 65. So the key switching specs are the pre-travel of 0.8 millimeter, right? So that's before it clicks. The actuation is at 1 millimeter, which is crazy, and bottoms out at 1.8 millimeter. So basically, like at 0.8 it like hits the click, and at 1 it ends the click, and it bottoms out at 1.8. So the Cherry says a force of 45 grams is required for the actuation. So actually it goes from 45 to hit actuation, 52 for actuation, and then at the bottom of the tactile point, it takes you 65 grams. So I feel like I'm throwing a lot of numbers out there. They probably don't mean a lot to you guys, but it's, it's like easier to push it at the start, harder at the end, tactile in the middle,
Yeah.
Tactile.
Numbers.
Yeah.
Numbers, tactile.
It's harder to press at the end than it is at the beginning.
Yes.
It clicks at some point, and then it gets harder to press.
I'm actually looking at a picture now. We should link it. We'll drop a link in the description of the video and the podcast so you guys can see it. I think I have the right link here.
Okay.
But I think based on what I'm looking at and based on what you're telling me, it makes a lot of sense because there's actually a little spring in between these two like leaves that are pointing up. So when you're pushing down the keycap, those plates are moving down. It's actually pulling the spring apart.
Yeah.
So you can imagine the more you pull the spring apart, the more tension there is. So the more you push down on that, those two leaves kind of push down, pull that spring apart. It's going to get harder to push, which is actually a good thing because when you were talking about this, the whole time I'm thinking like, how does this work? How do you like? I have a low profile mechanical keyboard, not this low profile, not even close.
Yeah.
And it kind of loses some of that tactility in that low profile design, but like looking at this looks badass, number one, and I can't wait to try one.
yeah I have a couple thoughts about it. Like I'm not sure I'm gonna like it because like I kind of like the travel distance, I like being able to press down a certain amount and then hit that click and then press down some more and like really feel that travel distance to really feel it. So I don't know, man. I'd love to try them out, but I'm interested to see. I don't know. Maybe I'll like it, but I feel like I'd have trouble because, again, like I like having like the key. Like I like there being bulkiness here, so that like my fingers know where they're going.
Yeah.
So anyway, they're translucent thermoplastic parts. So that's what you're seeing there, which allows for the LEDs to be directly under each key. So in the picture you're looking at, do you see LEDs at all? Do you see the little LED?
The picture I found is on Cherry's site, and it looks like, well, one picture makes it look like the parts are stainless steel. So there may be a couple different materials inside of there potentially, but
yeah, interesting.
Yeah, I do see it now. There is the plastic, and it looks like it's kind of surrounded by a stainless steel plate.
Okay.
But that makes sense because if you look at like when I disassembled my mechanical keyboard, the actual LED lights are positioned like they're almost offset to the key. They're not directly under the key. They're actually like off to one side. Which you can't really tell like when the board's put together because the plastic is actually what captures that light and kind of dispenses it around the switch, and so it looks like it's an even glow.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
That's how mine is too. It's only on the one side.
Yeah,
and it
right.
disperses all over. So they're rated for 15 million actuations with no loss in quality. So you'd have to sit there and press that key for a really long time to get it to break. I wonder how they test that. They just got like some lab rat just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I was literally gonna like say something about that. There must be a machine. Like, if you've ever been in like IKEA or something, and they have like the machine that's like pulling a drawer open and shutting it, and pulling it open and shutting it, and it's like, we've tried this 50 billion times. So I guess there's like a factory somewhere where there's literally like a robotic finger that's just like all day long.
So good, the machine breaks before the keyboard.
Yeah,
we had to stop at 15 million because that's how far the machine could go.
Yeah, it's also known as the wife torture chamber. You just put your wife in there.
Oh no!
The clicky clacky tactile switches.
Click, click, click. Yeah, drive them insane. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
All right, so who's going to be doing these? Who's going to have these switches first? I'll tell you. Alienware will be the first laptops to have them. So I got a little bit more to tell you about this, and then we can move on to UFC. Alienware M15R4 and M17R4 series will be configurable with these keys and have implemented per key RGB lighting, which is super cool. Alien FX Sync 100% anti-ghosting plus end key rollover. I didn't do my research, so I'm not sure what those last two are.
I'm pretty sure end key rollover is like it's got something to do with like you pushing multiple switches at once and how it handles that.
Okay.
That didn't help anything really, but I'm pretty sure it's got something to do with that.
Next episode we'll get into. I think that's what I'm going to do for the next episode. I'm going to talk about what those things are. That'll be my topics for next episode, and I'll reference back to this one. So there's some more specs for the Alienware laptops, including Intel 10th gen processors, mobile graphics up to an NVIDIA GeForce RTX 3080. Oh my God! Pricing starts at $1,800 and $1,900 respectively for beer. Respectively. What am I trying to say? Not respectfully.
RESPETB.
Respectively. That's not the right word.
I spelled that wrong on purpose, just so everyone knows.
Okay. All right, so $1,800 for the M15R4, $1,900 for the M17R4, respectively. Is what I was going for. So going for the Cherry MX ultra low profile switches option will add another $150 to the price. I'm not going to be buying one of these, but
no.
I wish you could just buy them like individually, right? Like I would order a set just to try them on my keyboard.
Yeah, I would order a standalone low profile Cherry MX board, and I'm sure they will come out with one.
Yeah.
I mean, it's almost a shoe-in that somebody like who uses these, right? Who uses the Cherry switches? Well, you're using them on your Ducky. Your Ducky has them.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I got the Cherry Blues.
I don't think the Logitech do the Logitech boards use cherries? I think they might. I know the Razer boards use a proprietary switch.
Well, I don't know. I have no idea. Yeah. I know Razer has their own optical switches that they made.
Yep.
I wouldn't doubt it. I bet Logitech does use Cherry switches, but I'd have to look into it.
a lot of those gaming keyboards you can buy at like Best Buy have Cherry switches in them. So I'm sure it's only a matter of time before they come out with a low profile gaming keyboard. I can say from my experience using the low profile mechanical keyboard with those flat keycaps like that, it's really easy to lose your finger position. So
yeah.
And also my other final thought on like a gaming laptop with this kind of key in there, I would think this is kind of counterintuitive to a gaming laptop. I mean, again, it goes back to kind of last week where we talked about it's hard to step out of your own sort of like lifestyle and like there's something out there for everyone, but like I feel like a gaming laptop would be cool to like take to a Starbucks or something, or take somewhere, right? Travel with it, and somewhere you're trying to be discreet almost. But But like you're taking this to a coffee shop and you're like click, 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 click every time you're hitting your WASD keys. That's kind of obnoxious to whoever's around you, but also who cares what people think.
I actually do see a good use case for me having something like this. Like I definitely don't want the low profile. I would actually, if I had a gaming laptop, I'd probably still have a keyboard and a mouse separate, and probably even a monitor. But if we do like a van thing, we want to buy a van and like deck it out for like travel.
Yeah.
Right. So like having something like this that'd be
dope.
Pretty cool. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. That's it, man.
Awesome.
That's pretty exciting. I can't wait to try them.
Yeah, man. Same here. Whenever they release, I'll be making my way to Best Buy to go touch some keyboards.
Have the manager come over. Sir, you're up to 1 million clicks already. Can you please move along?
Yeah. Oh, man, that's good. So, well, before we move into UFC, it's about time we talk about it. I do want to give a reminder to go check out our What You Drinkin' video. Tonight, I reviewed the Pale Fire Brewing Loop and Lil Belgian Tripel, which is quite tasty. I'm almost done with it already, but very, very delicious.
Yes, that was very exciting. I was excited for mine as well. I reviewed the Magic Beans Coffee Porter by Smuttlabs. Yeah, so pretty excited. Did I just fling some? I hope that didn't go on my keyboard.
Oh, no.
Anyway, so our What You Drinkin' beer reviews are exclusive to YouTube, so click the link in the description of this episode if you want to go check us out. Oh, let's get into UFC.
All right, man. Well, I think we might have one of the biggest cards of the year yet announced, at least, coming up this weekend. UFC 260, headlined by Francis and Stipe. Man,
Woof.
I'm so excited for this. I can't even like contain myself. Like I'm almost at a loss of words already, and the fight hasn't even begun. Like I'm gonna be so hyped for this fight. Like I could definitely tell this is gonna be one of the ones where like adrenaline, heart beating, you know, as Stipe and Francis are walking out. This is gonna be awesome.
Yeah, dude. I'm you know me during some fights where I'm just like, bro, I can't stop shaking right now. Like my energy's I'm too excited. I'm too nervous. Like what's gonna happen? I really honestly, dude, I love Stipe, man. I just want Stipe to win, but I love Francis too. So I'm like, oh gosh, I don't know.
This is a tough one for you. This is your Ohio. He's your Ohio guy.
Yeah, he is. He's my Ohio guy. I definitely want Stipe to win, but Francis is such a monster, dude. It's so fun to watch him fight because he just clobbers people.
Yeah, and I gotta say, after listening to his interview with Joe Rogan, I like him like 100-fold. Like hearing his story and like how hard it actually was. I would recommend anyone go listen to that. It's like watching a movie in podcast form. Like I can't even believe that's a real story. The like
I don't know
getting
if I
out of what did you say?
Was this recent? I don't know if I heard it.
Yeah, it's like a month ago, I guess. He was on Joe Rogan.
Oh, dude, I need to go listen.
You got to listen to it, man. Like he talks about how he, you know, essentially fled Cameroon and how he essentially made his way across Africa and eventually over to France and trained over there. But like it took him, I think he said 2 years to do that, to get out of Africa and into France and actually start training. And like how hard that was for him, man. Like we have no idea, again, how easy we have it. You know, and some of these guys in the UFC have been I don't know how long Stipe specifically has been training MMA and like what his background actually is. Maybe you might have some more insight into that. But
yeah, wrestling and boxing. He's been he wrestled in high school and he was like a Golden Gloves boxer in after high school.
Okay, yeah, so he's been doing it for a while. Francis, I think, was in his late 20s, I think, before he ever even started boxing. Wow. And within like 4 years, he was in the UFC. So, you know, his experience, he's gotten that good in that short of amount of time, and it's just the power is just overwhelming. So, I think, you know, it's kind of one of those very similar, I guess, to we could equate it to the why am I losing his name right now? The Adesanya, the fight that just happened, the Adesanya fight.
Jan, yeah.
With Jan, yeah, jeez, holy crap. Where there's elite power versus technical prowess, I guess. So Stipe, I don't think has the same power as Francis. I think that's a fair statement, right?
Yeah.
He's got power. He definitely has power, but
I don't
think
think anybody has as much power as Francis.
No, for sure. But I think there's a lot of more technical ability.
Yeah. Wrestling,
Stipe.
more well-rounded. Wrestling, boxing.
So,
Francis just kind of like flails, and as soon as he hits you, you're done.
Yeah. Was it the Curtis Blades fight that he came out and like literally looked like he was just like swinging his arms around like a madman?
It's like it's like every fight.
Oh no, it was the Jairzinho Rosenstrike fight.
Oh yeah.
Where it was like 5 seconds into the fight, like it looked like he was just literally doing windmills like
right.
But just clobbered him. It was insane.
Dude, it's so crazy, man. He has so much power. Like, that's insane.
Yeah.
He can just shut your lights off. Like almost anybody on the planet, he could just shut your lights off, no problem.
I'd be willing to say anybody. It is anyone.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. Except for maybe Nate Diaz. Like that guy just never gets knocked out.
Fair. That would be hilarious to see.
Yeah, it would.
But on a more depressing note for UFC 260, we had our co-main stripped from the card. This sucked to read about, man. This sucked a lot.
I hate this, man. This sucks.
Yeah. So our man Alexander Volkanovski
tested
versus
positive.
Brian Ortega, tested positive for the vid.
Yeah. So Volkanovski tweeted on Saturday that he tested positive for COVID-19, adding that he tested negative before leaving Australia and before entering the UFC bubble, but that his latest test came up positive. Man, it's such a on-off kind of thing with these tests. Like sometimes you get false positive. I think sometimes you get false negatives, but I don't think you ever get like a false positive. You might get a false positive, but like I'm not sure, man. They're just very spotty. But I think if it says that it's positive, then you probably have it, right? Because that means you're testing positive. You have the antibodies. I think that's what they're looking for. I don't really know enough about it.
Yeah, I know. I remember reading just a little bit about it just because I had COVID and read a little bit about it when it happened. But I don't know all the technical terms right now. But essentially, there's a threshold of which like you have to have a certain number of I guess like microbes or whatever of the virus show up on the test in order for it to be flagged as positive. And the threshold for COVID is set fairly low because they want to make sure that anybody that's got any trace of the virus is flagged as being positive to obviously quarantine and all that good stuff. So I think you can test positive and have a very, very low impact of the virus. Like if you have a very low, I guess, population of the virus in your system. But anyways, I don't know that there's many false positives, but false negatives I think for sure. And also the thing is the incubation period. So I think it doesn't show up on a test for what is it, like 3 to 5 days or 5 to 7 days or something like that.
Yeah, right. But
you're supposed to wait. Yeah, you're supposed to wait a few days after you've been exposed to get the test, or else it might not show up. But whatever the situation was, it kind of it sucks a lot for Volkanovski considering he traveled from Australia to Las Vegas.
Oh, man.
I don't know where Brian Ortega lives. I'm assuming he lives in California.
I think so. T-City. What's T-City?
I think, isn't his nickname the California Kid or something like that?
No, his nickname's T-City.
Oh. Who am I thinking about? I'm thinking about Faber.
Yeah, Faber's the California Kid.
Yeah, I thought Ortega lived in California, but
I think he does, but whatever T-City is, I don't know what T-City is. I don't know.
Tega. I don't know. Anyways. He lives in America. I'm pretty sure he fights out of America.
He fights out of... good one.
Pretty sure he's American. Anyways, the Australian Volkanovski had to travel all the way from Australia to Vegas just to find out that he had tested positive. And there was a lot of conversation between the two guys, like on social media, and Ortega was super. I mean, he seems like a pretty down to earth, pretty reasonable.
It's got to piss you off, though, man.
Yeah, deep down, it's got to. Like, But I don't know, man. This virus is, you just never know. Like my kid's case's class or school is essentially shut down next week because one of the teachers tested positive. So it's like it just comes up, and you gotta take it in stride, I guess. But
I can't believe it's still like rampant like this, man. Like, geez.
Yeah, it's insane. Hopefully that, I mean, we've got some other news that I don't think we wrote down here, but we've got some UFC events coming up in, what is it, April? That are full-blown, full-scale, full-capacity events happening in Florida for the Masvidal Usman fight in Tampa. So full arenas.
Oh, man.
Like, we'll see how that goes, but
somebody's getting COVID.
It's quite possible. But anyways, I think Volkanovski and Ortega both agree they want to run it back. Well, not run it back, but they want to reschedule it. And hopefully we get to see that, because this, as we know, we've talked about before, like who do we put in front of Volkanovski after he's done what he's done to Holloway 2 times now? And I think we were both excited to see what Ortega could do.
It's got to be Ortega. That's the only person I can think of. But Ortega wins he wins his fights. I mean, he has a couple knockouts, but he wins most of his fights by submission. And I don't think he's going to be able to do that to Volkanovski, but maybe. You know?
Yeah, it will be interesting for sure. So, I mean, I guess some other sort of surprising news is that Michael Chandler versus Charles Oliveira in the wake of probably some of the biggest news of the year so far.
Yeah.
Khabib's official retirement is official. Dana White has said that Khabib is not coming back. So that leaves the title vacant for the lightweight division, and now Oliveira and Chandler are up for the belt. What's your thoughts?
I think that they probably should have done this a long time. Well, hold on. Let me first off start with the Khabib part. Like, they should have just marked him as retired a long time ago, because I mean, he made it very clear that he was done, and it's like, that guy doesn't lie. He's done. So that they took too long for that. But the whole Charles Oliveira versus Michael Chandler thing, oh my God. Chandler's got one fight in the UFC, and it's against Dan Hooker. I mean, No disrespect to Dan Hooker, but he was like number 5. And so Chandler just comes in, and now he's going to fight Oliveira. Neither Chandler or Oliveira has fought like Gaethje. They haven't fought Dustin. Dude, it's just crazy to me that they're passing up Dustin and Justin. They're passing up the Ustins. The damn Ustins. Ustins squared to... Dude, the belt should be the Ustins. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me, man.
Yeah, I think the only thing that helps paint the picture a little bit for me is that I saw that Dustin Poirier came out and said that he's not interested in the title fight right now. He wants the trilogy with McGregor, which I guess from a monetary perspective, maybe I can see some justification there. No pun intended. But oh, the dope jokes keep coming. But at the same time, like, you get a bigger paycheck once you get the belt, right? Theoretically, but probably maybe not as big as Conor. Get from dude, I know if I was Dustin, I would negotiate the hell out of that contract. Like, bro, you paid Conor 3-point-something million for the last fight. I starched him in the second round. You paid me $800,000. You best be giving me like some $2 million just to show if you're gonna pay Conor that kind of money. Like, I don't know.
I can't believe people are still like, Conor has only won like one fight out of like the past 3 years. He's only won like one fight.
Yeah, I feel like he's got to win his next one, or else some of that stardom's gonna start to fade away. He's gonna start to step out of that limelight a little bit.
He lost to a guy that he beat before.
Yeah, he's filthy rich, so he has nothing to worry about. But if he wants to maintain that limelight, I think he's gonna have to do something quick.
Dude, he's supposed to be like the best striker, with counter punches and all that stuff. Like I told you before the fight, like, he doesn't have his foot movement anymore. He doesn't move as fluidly. It looks heavy. It looks slower. And Justin just came out and worked his game and kicked those legs, and that was it. That's all it took.
That was it. Yeah. So I think the last kind of thing here before we transition, or unless you've got anything else to chat about UFC related, is that we can't forget about the other Justin Gaethje. He actually sent out a tweet saying that he was shocked. He was training, and I think he said something about, like, I woke up this morning expecting, training for a fight with Michael Chandler, and turns out that this is the fight that, got booked as Oliveira versus Chandler. So he was shocked, as all of us are, to learn that he was not getting the fight. I think you and I talked about this before in regards to Michael Chandler. Is like, dude, as stacked as the lightweight division is, like, why is Michael Chandler getting a shot at the belt after one victory? I mean, again, granted, it was a pretty dominant performance. He's got clout from Bellator for sure, but I mean, when you've got guys like Justin Gaethje, so I saw somebody put on Instagram, like, you guys are all shitting on Michael Chandler when he and Oliveira are the only ones in the top 5 that are coming off of a win versus a loss, besides Dustin. I'm like, that's fair enough to say, but, like, Gaethje's only lost in, like, his last, like, what, 4 or 5 fights is Khabib.
Yeah.
And he completely crushed Tony Ferguson. Like, I don't think that you can say just because he's coming off of a loss means he shouldn't get a shot at Michael Chandler, or that Chandler shouldn't have to go through another guy before getting a shot at the title.
This is what I think the strategy is, right? I think their strategy is this. Give it to these two, pass up the 2 guys that couldn't beat Khabib, right? Because their goal is to get Khabib to come back. Their ultimate goal is to get Khabib to come back. So what they want to do is they want to get a guy in there like a Chandler. So let's say Chandler beats Oliveira, or vice versa. If Oliveira has been on a tear, and Oliveira is good on the ground as well, and Chandler is too. So get one of those 2 guys in there, and if they're dominant and then they put up Justin and Dustin against them and they retain the belt, then their play is, hey, Khabib, look, we have a contender for you. Don't you want to come back and see if you're really the best? Right.
No, I like that. I mean, I guess that makes sense. I don't know if Khabib's ever going to take the bait. But yeah, I feel like the UFC could get a lot of hype out of doing something like almost like a tournament style. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
pride.
Instead of just like throwing up a, as soon as Khabib's retirement is official, they're like, okay, this is the title fight, Oliveira versus Chandler. This is the title fight. Like, why not say Oliveira Chandler, and then Justin Dustin, and then the winner of those 2 goes on to the title fight,
right?
Or something like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It should have been Chandler versus Justin and Oliveira versus Dustin, I feel like, and then whoever wins goes on, and whoever wins that next fight, that's how they should have done it. But that's how
you can build so much. There's so much marketing you can do around that. There's so much. I mean, it would take a while. It would be like I guess that's probably what they don't want to do. They don't want to have a vacant belt for 6 months, but
right.
Yeah.
But they totally should have.
Right now, Khabib's still on there. So.
Yeah.
Anyways.
I'm sure he'll be on there until somebody actually wins, and then they'll take him off.
Yeah, maybe so.
All right, man. UFC got a lot of crazy stuff happening in that world.
Yep.
Can't wait for this coming weekend. It's gonna be fun.
Likewise, sir. All right, man. Let's talk about some video games and close this bad boy out.
Let's do that, guys. Let us know your thoughts about UFC 260. What are your predictions? Let's talk about gaming. We got a short little segment here. Just one quick little article. You ever heard of a game called Terraria?
I have not.
Never heard of it. Okay.
Never heard of it.
So
apparently, I probably should have.
Let me give you a little background. It's a action-adventure sandbox game developed by Relogic. The game was first released for Microsoft Windows on May 16th, 2011, so a long time ago, and has since been ported to several other platforms. The game features exploration, crafting, building, painting, and combat with a variety of creatures in a procedurally generated 2D world. I actually do think it's Had a multiplayer patch now. They've just released a bunch of, like, you buy the base game, and they've just been doing tons of free updates, tons of free content, just adding so much to this game, including the multiplayer. You can play it on mobile, you can play it on console, play it on PC. It's a 2D, like, side scroller kind of deal, but you're like moving around and like crafting and building, like, buildings underground and stuff like that. I bought it. It wasn't really my kind of game, but that's not why I'm here. Why I'm here is to tell you that they have sold 35 million copies across all platforms. That's 17.2 million copies on PC, 9.3 million on mobile, and 8.5 million on console. And also, this is really what I think is the most important bit of news, is that they recently took the #1 position on Steam 250's ranking of games by user review, knocking Portal 2 from the top spot. So,
wow,
never heard of it, but it is, per Steam's 250 list, it is #1 by user review.
Wow, I'm looking at pictures of it, like, super retro.
Yeah, super retro.
Sounds interesting. Like, how do you have a I guess like you're not talking about. I mean, you're talking about crafting and building.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
In a 2D side scroller landscape. Like, that's such an interesting concept.
Right. Yeah. The gameplay, I guess, is like a lot of fun too. The controls and just like moving around, the creatures that you're fighting, stuff like that. Not my kind of game, but I guess if you were like an old NES player or something, or if you're younger and this might have been like one of the first games you played, then I can see why it would be so much fun for you. But it's these little games like this, these like little retro games with like shitty graphics that always seem to do like really, really well. Like Valheim came out and like it doesn't have the best graphics and people just love it. And like RuneScape, like people love that. Minecraft, like Roblox, like all of these games that like they're not like graphically intense yet everybody loves them because of the gameplay. So that's what these AAA companies don't understand, is they put so much time and effort into making it look beautiful, but they lose their soul because the game just sucks ass.
Yeah, it's true, man. Like, I go back to when you first got me playing Rust. You're like, let's change all these graphic settings to make the game look like trash.
Yeah.
But you'll do better. You can see people from way farther away.
It's true.
And I'm like, it is true. So, it's not always about the visuals. And the game doesn't lose much of its like luster when you do all that, when you adjust those settings. You're still doing all the same things. The mechanics are still there.
Yep.
You just don't see every blade of grass. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah, and looking at Valheim, it's kind of similar. So it's interesting, like that balance, that even today in 2021, whereas graphics seem to be like the most impressive thing back in the day. It's like all about who has the best graphics, which console has the best graphics, which developer can do the best graphics. Now it's about finding that niche sort of gameplay in combination of mechanics, I guess, to make something interesting and fun to play.
Yep, that's what it's all about, mechanics and gameplay, man.
Yeah.
That's where you find your success. RimWorld was another one I forgot to mention. You ever heard of that one? That one.
RimWorld?
I've spent many hours on that one. That's a simulation game, colony simulation that that game has done phenomenally well, as so.
Oh yeah, I'm looking at that right now. That's like top down.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember this takes me back to like the old GTA days, like GTA 3 when it was like all top down.
Yeah. That RimWorld game, man, I love that game. It's a single player, if you ever just want to relax and not have to worry too much about other people stealing your shit or dying a bunch, you can go play that game.
Nice.
You can make it really, really hard, or you can make it super easy. Anyway.
Actually, GTA 2. I was wrong. Not GTA 3.
GTA
3 was the first time.
Right. That was
That's when it switched.
Gosh, what was the name of that island? GTA 3. I don't even remember.
GTA 3 was just called GTA 3. I think it was in New York City, maybe.
Yeah, it was like a Bronx kind of like knockoff or something.
Man, that was a game changer when it switched.
Mafia. I just remember
Oh my
always
gosh.
having to like drive back to that like garage to get my
Yeah.
car fixed. Do the missions at the garage. Anyway,
Hasn't changed much
good
since
times.
then.
No, it
I
hasn't.
gotta say, man, while we're in the gaming section, though, I want to say, I think I said last week that we allowed Kai to, we kind of, for his 5th birthday, like, made it official that he can play Xbox now, right? Like, we let him sit down and, like, I think yesterday he sat down while Case napped. So Case is my younger one. He napped for a couple hours, and Kai played Xbox for like 2 hours straight, which was like, am I a good parent or no?
What did he play? What did he play?
So we bought him for his birthday Lego World.
Cool.
Which I'm not sure if you've seen that played or not, but I'm actually like, it's actually pretty fun, man. Like, it's quote unquote open world. There are different worlds you can travel to, which have different themes, whatever. And then you can modify everything from like top to bottom. Like, you can completely erase you can flatten the land and start from a blank slate. I think there's an online component to it, but we haven't gotten into that. I don't really want to expose him to like online anything at this point. But
no, it's a bad idea.
Yeah.
No.
So the first, single player like adventure mode, you go to these different worlds and you have to help people around to get like these gold bricks and fix your spaceship to travel to different lands or whatever. But he's getting the hang of like using the 2 sticks and like moving around and using the camera at the same time to look around and jumping and climbing, and he knows how to switch to his different tools to like build up the landscape or take away things. And it's actually really fun, man. Like, the graphics are pretty good. It's an Xbox One game. I'm playing on the Xbox One S, and yeah, man, I'm actually like having fun watching him figure out how to, like, I came in there one day and he was like, I don't know why, I'm not sure what made him want to do this, but like, there's one world he was in has a bunch of water, like it's like, this kind of like lakes, I guess. He was filling the entire lake with like concrete blocks, so like he took away all the water in the entire map, and it's like all the fish were like floating on top of this concrete thing, and he was just doing it all by himself. Like, he was moving the whole thing around and filling up the hole, like getting rid of all the water and
just exploring. I bet that's like a good learning tool.
It's a perfect game, dude. Like, literally for anyone that's got a young kid like that, just to figure out the mechanics of how to use a game controller, like moving and looking at the same time. Like, I don't have to tell him how to do it now. Like, I'm just like, hey, get your landscape tool out. So he holds down the Y button. He moves the joystick to the right spot, lets go of it, hits A or whatever. He knows how to like spawn in different animals into the world, and like, it's super cool to watch, man. So
there's a lot of value in video gaming for a lot of different things that I feel like older generations or people that aren't as hip to gaming don't understand. They think it's all about entertainment and wasting your time, when there's so much more to it than that.
Yeah, it's creativity, man. It's expression. Like, he can build whatever he wants. Like, he's still figuring it out. But yesterday we built like we were like, let's see how tall we can build a tower. Like, we just built like this single column tower that like went into space essentially. And he thought it was like the coolest thing ever, just to climb up that tower, jump off of it, and float down back to the world. And then we built like a tree house and like all kinds of cool stuff. So
it's all, video gaming, like a lot of it's all about problem solving too. Like, if you're playing video games, like, they're always like, every video game has its own different types of puzzles that you have to just figure out, and you have to solve the problem. You have to beat the game. Beating the game means you solve the problem. So yeah.
Or you rage quit and you smash your controller.
I've had my share. That just means you're a human.
Exactly. I'll never forget. I'll remember this to the day I die. Metal Gear Solid. I don't know which one it was. It was on the PS1. I've never played a Metal Gear Solid game since this incident, where there was a specific level. I don't remember what the level. I don't remember which game it was, which level it was, but it was snowy. I'm on like a rooftop. I have a pistol, and like, I could not figure out how to beat this level.
Sniper Wolf.
Huh?
You were fighting Sniper Wolf in the snow? Yeah.
Maybe, yeah. I was like, I couldn't figure out where to go, what to do, who to kill, how to live, like whatever. And I just gave up. I was like, fuck this. I'm done. and just never played a Metal Gear Solid game after that.
Yeah, you were playing the best one, man, Metal Gear Solid 2. I bet you were fighting Sniper Wolf, and I don't remember how to beat her right now, but I remember that fight.
I'm googling it. Metal Gear Solid 2.
You had to trick her some way. There was something you had to do to trick her, and then there was another part of it after you beat Sniper Wolf where you like went into this like little shaft, and there was like a certain way that you had to like walk on the floor tiles, or you would just die every time. Yeah, it's.
Yeah.
I bet if you went back and played it now, you would beat it. Because I found like games that I couldn't beat when I was younger, I've gone back and played and beat them, and was like, why couldn't I beat that before? And it was just because I was dumb. I was just young and dumb. Now I'm smarter for some reason. Yeah, exactly. You notice more stuff too. Now, like I've gone back to games and been like, definitely wouldn't have picked up on that as a kid. Okay, yeah. I know what they're actually talking about now.
Now this makes sense. Yeah, I remember another one was Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah.
Did you ever play Kingdom Hearts?
Nah, never played it.
I think that was a PlayStation exclusive maybe, but yeah, I remember Kingdom Hearts. I remember I couldn't figure out how to beat a specific level, and I eventually just gave up. Stopped playing that game too, but that was a cool game.
Yeah. I miss playing Ratchet and Clank. Ratchet and Clank was my shit, dude.
Oh, I played that on the PSP.
Yeah.
Portable PlayStation, dude, that was revolutionary.
Dude, I used to love that game.
It changed everything.
It was so much fun. Just like upgrading your guns, getting better guns, and finally get to end game and you're just blowing everything up, dude.
Yep.
That was a great game.
That was definitely a good game.
Yep.
All right, man. Well, I think that about wraps up our show. We're almost at our hour mark. So as always, guys, we appreciate you tuning in to another episode and ask that you please like and subscribe on YouTube, follow on Spotify, and come say hi on Instagram or Twitter.
That's right. And of course, if you really want to help us grow the show, please share this episode with a friend who you think will like it. For now, we will see you in the next episode.
See you guys.
Peace.